Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to assignment number 5 for A Raisin in the Sun. When we left off in the middle of assignment number 5, Mama came back with what was for her incredibly good news. Don't forget, Mama's dream since she was a child was to have her own home and to have her own garden, a place that she can call her own, where people don't own it and tell them how to live, where there's not rats and cockroaches all over the place, where it has more than one window, where it actually has its own bathroom that the family can use and not share with strangers and weird people. But of course, Walter does not see it as good news. Walter actually sees it as God, something quite opposite from good news. He sees it as like almost like a diss by his mama, because his mama is not giving him the money to start his own business. He feels like his dreams are being deferred now by his own mother and his family. So let's pick it up right where from we left off. In fact, Ruth had a really interesting question. A lot of people, if they had just picked up this book from the middle of the page, from right now, this play, they wouldn't understand why Ruth would have said, "Is there a whole lot of sunlight in the new house?" And Mama understands and says, "Yes, child, there's a whole lot of sunlight." Because again, in their apartment, they only have that one window, but it's more than that. I think they're speaking metaphorical. I think sunlight means more than just the light from the sun. I think it means chances for the family, right? Where they're not being deferred, where they actually have a dream that they can realize and live together and happily. But there's also one problem, let's not forget. Mama bought the house in a white neighborhood, right? And Walter is going to use that fact against Mom. I mean, he wasn't going to be happy no matter where she bought the house, because he didn't want the house. He wants the money for the business. But this gives him some kind of ammunition to use against his mom. Why would you do that to us, Mom? Why would you put us in a position where, we could be harassed or even worse? And Mama explained to him that that was the best house she could get for the least amount of money. And God bless Mama for doing that. She is not going to allow the white neighborhood to keep her out of it. This is America. She gets to live where she wants and when she wants, and she's going to do that. So let's pick it up from there. Ruth collecting herself and going to the door of the room. Travis is in. "Well, I guess I better see about Travis," to Mom. Lord, I sure don't feel like whipping nobody today. If you recall, Travis is about to get whipped by his mama because he was late and he didn't tell Mama where he was. But of course, Ruth doesn't want to give him a beating. You don't ever want to beat your children. And today, she considers this to be one of the better days because she was just given this wonderful news. Let's also not forget that Ruth is still contemplating having an abortion for her baby, but maybe she won't now because, of course, she has this home to bring the baby into. Although she did ask Walter, "Can we go talk about this?" And he said, "No, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have anything to do with you." So we've got some real big problems. So Ruth exits. Now here's Mama, and she's sitting with Walter, and she knows that there's a problem with her and Walter. There's this big problem with Walter, and she's going to try to explain to him that she did this. She bought this house for Walter. See, Walter doesn't see it that way, and that's the big problem. He sees it as Mama deferring his dreams. Well, actually, Mama is realizing her own dreams. And don't forget, and she even said it. She said, that house is going to be yours one day, Travis. Mama bought it. She's going to live in it. When she passes away, it's going to go to Walter and Benita. And when they pass away, it goes to Travis and Travis's little brother or sister. So this is a wonderful thing. But let's see if Mama can have Walter see it. Mama, the mother and son are left alone now, and the mother waits a long time, considering deeply before she speaks. "Son, you understand what I've done, don't you?" Walter is silent and sullen. "I just seen my family falling apart today, just falling to pieces in front of my eyes. We couldn't have gone on like we was today. We was going backwards instead of forwards, talking about killing babies and wishing each other was dead. When it gets like that in life, you just got to do something different. Push on out and do something bigger." She waits. "I wish you'd say something, son. I wish you'd say how deep inside you think I'd done the right thing." Walter, crossing slowly to his bedroom door and finally turning there and speaking measuredly. "What you need me to say that you've done right for? You the head of this family. You run our lives like you want to. It was your money and you did what you wanted with it. So what you need for me to say it was all right for? Bitterly, to hurt her as deeply as he knows is possible." Did you hear that? Bitterly. So we know he's bitter. He's really upset. But listen, to hurt her as deeply as he knows is possible. Remember, we oftentimes take out our frustrations on the people we love the most. And he's doing it now on Mama because, again, he believes Mama is deferring his dream. In fact, he says it right here. So you butchered up a dream of mine, you who always talking about your children's dreams. Mama, Walter Lee. He just closes the door behind him. Mama sits alone, thinking heavily. Curtain. Okay, now we are in scene 2. Time, Friday night, a few weeks later. So a lot of time has passed. My question is, what has happened during those few weeks? How has Walter dealt with it? How is Ruth dealing with it? Are Ruth and Walter talking about it? How is Mama dealing with it? And if it's a few weeks later, remember, we found out in our last scene when Mama came back and said she bought the house, and Ruth said, well, when can we move in? And she said first of the month. So that means sometime within, we don't know what day of the month it is that she said it, but it can't be farther away than 30 days, right? It has to be like 28 days or less. And this is a few weeks later. So a few weeks is, 3 weeks. So it's 21 days minimum. So I'm thinking, based upon the time frame, that they should be moving in the next day or so. Let's see, time, Friday night, a few weeks later. At Rise, packing crates mark the intention of the family to move. Benita and George come in, presumably from an evening out again. Okay, so the packing crates are all over the house, which shows us that they are planning. They're still planning on moving to the home, which is an incredibly good news for them to get out of this apartment, out of this squalor and poverty and the roaches and stuff. How does Walter feel about it? So let's see. Now, Benita and George, they just came in from a date. So Benita is still seeing George every once in a while, but she still thinks he's shallow. George, okay, whatever you say. They both sit on the couch. He tries to kiss her. She moves away. Look, we've had a nice evening. Let's not spoil it, huh? So take a look at George. What is George interested in? He sat down with her, and now he's trying to kiss her. So he's interested in a little physical action with her. I mean, they're in their apartment. I'm assuming he's not trying to do more than kiss her. At least I hope not, especially because they're not married. But let's see how he acts, all right? Because remember, Benita knows he's shallow, but she still stays with him because she said he takes her to nice places and, places that she doesn't get to go to often or not. He says, look, we've had a nice evening. Let's not spoil it, huh? I think he expects something from her. Does he expect, by the way, something from her for her to kiss him or more because he takes her out? Are there guys or girls who think that if they spend time with you, if they spend some money on you, that you owe them something for that? I don't think Benita's going to fly with that. Let's see. He turns again her head and tries to nuzzle in, and she turns away from him, not with distaste, but with momentary lack of interest, in a mood to pursue what they were talking about. Okay, so he tries again to go in for more kissing, and she turns away from him. But notice it says not with distaste, but with momentary lack of interest. In other words, she likes kissing him. That's fine by her, but she would rather continue talking. All right, so let's hear it. Benita, I'm trying to talk to you. George, we always talk. Benita, yes, and I love to talk. George, exasperated, rising. I know it, and I don't mind it sometimes, but I want you to cut it out, see? The moody stuff, I mean. I don't like it. You're a nice-looking girl all over. That's all you need, honey. Forget the atmosphere. Wait a minute, stop. Wait a minute, what did he just say? I know it and I don't mind it sometimes. In other words, it's okay if you talk sometimes, but sometimes you got to be quiet and let me get what I want. I want you to cut it out. See, the moody stuff, I mean, I don't like it. Now, when he says moody stuff, he just means her being thoughtful and liking to talk situations out and her life and her dreams. I mean, I don't like it. You're a nice looking girl all over. What does he mean by saying that? He does the ... the little pause, and then he says all over. Is he talking about her body? And then he says, that's all you need, honey. Forget the atmosphere. Is he saying the only thing that's important for a woman is their body and how they look? Because I think right now he's telling her, I don't want to talk to you. I want to get physical. Listen, that's all you need, honey. Forget the atmosphere. Guys aren't going to go for the atmosphere. They're going to go for what they see. Be glad for that. Drop the garbo routine. It doesn't go with you. As for myself, I want a nice, groping, simple, thoughtfully, sophisticated girl. Not a poet, okay? So he says he wants a simple girl, not a sophisticated girl, not a poet. I think and by the way, Benita is no poet. She just likes to talk. She likes to talk about her feelings, her dreams, her hopes, her desires, which is a wonderful thing. He's telling her, I don't want to hear about your dreams or your desires. I just want to see what you look like and keep it there. Wow. The fact that he would actually say something like that, but remember, he's rich. I think he expects women to do what he wants because he's rich. I think he thinks that that's all they want from him. Benita doesn't care about his money. And by the way, he said guys aren't going to go for the atmosphere. In other words, the chatting, the talking. They want more than that. They want action. Actually, there is a guy that I can think of, ladies and gentlemen, who loves the atmosphere, who wants to talk more with Benita. And of course, that guy is Asa guy. All right, so he says, thoughtfully, sophisticated girl, not a poet, okay? He starts to kiss her. She rebuffs him again, and he jumps up. Benita, why are you angry, George? Because this is stupid. I don't go without you to discuss the nature of quiet desperation or to hear all about your thoughts. Oh my God, he just said that out loud. He just said, I don't go out with you to discuss the nature of quiet desperation or to hear all about your thoughts. Because the world will go on thinking what it thinks regardless. Time out. If he doesn't want to know her thoughts, then why is he with her? Is it purely he just wants physical things from her? He just wants to kiss her or more? That is unbelievably shallow and awful. Anita, then why read books? Why go to school? George, with artificial patience, counting on his fingers. Well, it's simple. You read books to learn facts, to get the grades, to pass the course, to get a degree. That's all. It has nothing to do with thoughts. So there you go. George has just articulated exactly what he believes. He doesn't care what people think. He only cares about the money, about the final product, right? And then there's a long pause. Benita. Gosh, I love Benita. Benita has her problems, of course. She's very nasty to her brother sometimes, like the way she talks. But then again, I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. Walter's very nasty to Benita as well. They're very rude to each other sometimes. But, I have a brother, two brothers and a sister, and I do know that sometimes we can be really awful to each other and nasty to each other. It's maybe practice for life. It's not good, but sometimes we do that. But the way she deals with George right now is fantastic. A long pause. Benita, I see. He starts to sit. She says, good night, George. In other words, you're out of here, buddy. See you later. She's giving him the boot. George looks at her a little oddly, and he starts to exit. Why does he look at her oddly? He doesn't believe that she's getting rid of him. Why would a poor girl get rid of me, a rich guy, a good-looking rich guy? She should only want that, only want my looks and my money, and be happy with that. And by the way, she should be happy just being quiet and listening to me. I don't want to hear what she has to say. And Benita, of course, who has a world of things to say, as everybody does, she is not going to allow him to oppress her in that form. And she says, see you later. Now, I love the fact that he looks at her oddly. He has never dealt with somebody like that before. And by the way, I don't think he'll ever deal with Benita again. I don't think she's ever going to let him in her life again after this. He just told her, I don't care what you think. I only want to kiss you. George looks at her a little oddly and starts to exit. He meets Mama coming in. George. Oh, hello, Mrs. Younger. Mama. Hello, George. How you feeling? Fine. How are you? Oh, a little tired. You know them steps can get you after a day's work. You all have a nice time tonight? Yes, a fine time. Well, good night. George, good night. He exits. Mama closes the door behind her. Hello, honey. What you sitting like that for? Benita. I'm just sitting. Mama, didn't you have a nice time? Benita. No. What's the matter? Mama, George is a fool. Honest. She rises. Mama, hustling around, unloading the packages she has entered with. She stops. Is he, baby? Benita, yes. Now, this is important right now because if you'll remember when in the beginning of the play, when Mama was talking about George to Benita, and she said, I don't understand. He's good looking. He's got money. That's all you need in this world, baby. And Benita said to her, no, Mama, I need more. I need somebody who appreciates me, who wants to know what I'm thinking, who is respectful of the fact that I'm going to be a doctor and wants me to doctor. Remember, George thought her being a doctor was a big joke, right? And it bothered me in the beginning of the book that Mama said, no, go with him. He's rich and whatnot. Now, let's see what Mama says to Benita now. Is Mama really on Benita's side? If she is, then now that Benita tells her that this guy's a fool, Mama should hopefully say something like, well, then stay the heck away from him if he's a fool. Hopefully she doesn't say something like, well, he's rich, baby, and he's good looking, because that would show that Mama doesn't care about her daughter's feelings either. Let's see how she reacts. So Mama says, is he, baby? Benita says, yes. Benita makes up Travis's bed as she talks. Mama, are you sure? Benita, yes. Mama, well, I guess you better not waste your time with no fools. Now, that's a huge deal that Mama just told her that. In other words, it's another way of saying, I am backing you up in your beliefs and I want what you want. It's just so awesome that mama would say that rather than say, who cares if he's a fool? He's rich and he's good looking. Because mama, you don't want to teach your kids to be shallow and to only go for the rich person, not for nothing, but look at the way he treats her now when they're dating. How do you think if they got married, how would George treat her later? Would he love her? Probably not. Would he respect her? I don't think so. The fact that all he cares about is, action and whatnot, would he cheat on her? I'm getting the feeling that he would. And I'm getting the feeling like he thinks he deserves to be with whoever he wants. And by the way, he certainly wouldn't want Benita being with anybody else. So gotta love the fact that mama said, and here it is, well, I guess you better not waste your time with no fools. Now, Benita looks up at her mother, watching her put groceries in the refrigerator. Finally, she gathers up her things and starts into the bedroom. At the door, she stops and looks back at her mother. Mama? Yes, baby. Thank you. For what? For understanding me this time. She quickly exits and the mother stands, smiling a little, looking at the place where Benita just stood. Ruth enters. That is a huge deal. That mama is not going to allow any man to oppress her daughter or defer her dreams. Because you better believe it, that if Ruth was silly enough to marry George because he's rich and good looking, that George would have spent the rest of his life and her life deferring her dreams and only going after his. And mama does not want that for her daughter. Let's continue. So Ruth enters. Ruth, now don't you fool with any of this stuff, Lena. Mama, I just thought I'd sort a few things out. Is brother here? Ruth, yes. Mama, with concern. Is he? Ruth, reading her eyes. Yes. Mama is silent and someone knocks on the door. Mama and Ruth exchange weary and knowing glances, and Ruth opens it to admit the neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, who is a rather squeaky, wide-eyed lady of no particular age with a newspaper under her arm. Just so you know, this Mrs. Johnson, this is one of the neighbors that they have to deal with and share the bathroom with. A lot of the play, when Lorraine Hansberry wrote this play, she put Miss Johnson in this play for a very specific reason, and you're going to find out that reason in a little while. Some people, when they have published this play over the last 50, 70 years, some of the publishers have dropped Miss Johnson from the play. And that makes me mad because the author, Lorraine Hansberry, put Miss Johnson in here for a very specific reason. And we'll find out as we're reading along. She wanted the reader to see just what African Americans, what Black people in the 1950s had to deal with. And it wasn't just from the white world and the white society and the government and the world out there, but sometimes some of their problems also came from other Black people. And Mrs. Johnson, you're going to see, is one of those people who is not at all on the younger side, and the youngers is Mama. That's their last name, Mama and Walter and Ruth and Benny and Travis. She's not on the younger side, not even at all. We're going to find out about it. Now, the question is, why do these other publishers drop them from their book? I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I can say I would not teach a book that has something pulled out like that because, of course, the author wants you to see this. The author wants you to know about this other problem that people were dealing with at that time. Let's continue. Okay, so Mama changing her expression to acute delight. I'm sorry, I didn't finish what I was saying. Ruth opens it to admit the neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, who is a rather squeaky, wide-eyed lady of no particular age with a newspaper under her arm. Mama changing her expression to acute delight and a ringing, cheerful greeting. Oh, hello there, Johnson. Johnson, this is a woman who decided long ago to be enthusiastic about everything in life, and she is inclined to wave her wrist vigorously at the height of her exclamatory comments. Hello there yourself. How you this evening, Ruth? Ruth, not much of a deceptive type. Fine, Ms. Johnson, how you? Okay, so did you see? I just want to point something out. Mama changes her expression to acute delight and a ringing, cheerful greeting. Oh, hi there, Johnson. So we're going to find out that Mama does not like Miss Johnson, but Mama believes that you have to show respect even to people you dislike, specifically your neighbors and people that you live around. So she's going to be nice to Miss Johnson, even though Miss Johnson is not necessarily nice back. Ruth, on the other type, it says not much of a deceptive type. Ruth doesn't hide the fact that she doesn't really like Miss Johnson. And she does not, pretend to like her more and act all nice and whatnot and happy around her. She says, fine, Miss Johnson, how you? Johnson, fine, reaching out quickly, playfully, and patting Ruth's stomach. Now, first of all, why would she pat Ruth's stomach? Of course, because there's a baby in there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you don't go around touching ladies' stomachs, whether they're pregnant or not. You just don't do it. And you're going to find Look around, notice that. Some people believe they have the right to go and do that. Heck, some people believe, strangers believe that they have the right to come up and touch babies. When my girls were little, I remember taking them to stores or whatnot, or I had them in the stroller, and strangers would come up and start to come to touch my babies. And I would pull away and say, excuse me, what are you doing? And they say, well, I'm going to touch your baby. And I say, no, you're not. I don't know you. Get your germs and your hands off my child, please. Thank you very much. And oftentimes they would get very nasty to me and, how are you? How dare you say that? I wasn't doing anything wrong. My point is, I don't know you. I don't know that you're not going to do anything wrong. Now, to go up and touch a woman's stomach, what is up with that? That's unbelievable. That people would try to do that to my wife as well, and she did not like that as well. She doesn't want strangers touching her. Heck, she doesn't even want people she knows touching her. Let's continue. Johnson, ain't you starting to poke out none yet? She mugs with the delight at the overfamiliar remark, and her eyes dart around looking at the crates and packing preparation. Mama's face is as cold as is a cold sheet of endurance. So when that says Mama's face is a cold sheet of endurance, I get the feeling like Miss Johnson comes around a lot, whether it's to borrow stuff or just to be a pain in the butt, and she's constantly in the younger's business. She's constantly in Mama's business and telling her what she thinks. And I'll tell you right now, I don't care what my neighbors think about me, and I don't want them come over and telling me what they think. Certainly if they don't like how I live my life. But listen, oh, wait, we getting ready around here, though. Yes, sir. Look at there. I'm telling you, the youngers is getting ready to move on up a little higher. Bless God. All right, now, look at that. Ain't we getting ready around here, though? Yes, sir. Look at there. I'm telling you, the youngers is getting ready to move on up a little higher. When she says move on up a little higher, she's pointing out the fact that the youngers are getting out of this roach and rat infested apartment building with only one window per apartment and no bathroom per apartment. They have to share one. And she says, move on up a little higher. Now, I don't know yet. Well, I do because I've read this play 100 times. But at this point of the play, if I've never read it before, like you ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell right away if Mrs. Johnson is being sincere. Is she happy or not that they're moving up? I'm getting the feeling, though, that she's not. Mama, a little dryly, doubting the total sincerity of the blesser. Yes, doubting the sincerity. I think Mama knows that Miss Johnson is not truly blessing them for leaving. I think Miss Johnson is jealous that they're leaving and doesn't like to see other people moving up and doing better. Not for nothing. I want everybody in this world to do better. Even the people I dislike. I want to hear that everybody I know that is just doing well, making a lot of money in their dream jobs, found their dream wife or a husband, has their dream home. Don't you want everybody in this world to be happy and to do better for themselves? I think Miss Johnson is one of those people who doesn't like to see other people doing better. She's jealous. Let's listen. Mama, a little dryly, doubting the total sincerity of the blesser. Bless God. He's good, ain't he? Oh, yes, he's good. Johnson, I mean, sometimes he works in mysterious ways, but he works, don't he? Mama, the same. Yes, he does. Johnson, I'm just so happy for y'all. And this here child about Ruth looks like she could just pop open with happiness, don't she? Where's all the rest of the family? All right, now, first of all, does Ruth right now look like she could pop open with happiness? No. Ruth probably looks a little angry because Miss Johnson is in there, and Ruth doesn't like Miss Johnson. And I think Miss Johnson is making that point to point out that Ruth doesn't look very happy right now. So it's almost like she's being sarcastic. It's almost like she's pointing out that Ruth doesn't look happy. And then she says, where's all the rest of the family? Mama, well, Benny's gone to bed. Johnson, ain't no. The implication is pregnancy. Sickness done hit you, I hope. Wait a minute, stop. OMG. She just said, where's Benny? Where is everybody? And Mama said, well, Benny went to bed. She's tired. And Johnson said, oh, ain't no sickness done hit you. In other words, she's implying that Benny might be pregnant as well. Now, that's a really awful implication because remember, Benny is only 20 years old. She is not married. She is just, she's dating a couple of different guys. And for her to think or to insinuate that Benny is pregnant is another way of insinuating that Benny sleeps around. All right. That Benny is an easy girl, right? You know exactly what I'm getting at. And we both know that that is exactly the opposite of Benny. In fact, just now, she wouldn't even let the guy kiss her because she wanted to talk. So no, Benny does not sleep around. Benny is not easy like that. But Johnson is insinuating to Mama that her daughter is. And wait, it's going to get worse. Mama, no, she's just tired. She was out this evening. Johnson, all a coup, an emphatic coup. Oh, ain't that lovely? Is she still going out with that little Murchison boy? Mama, dryly, mm-hmm. Johnson, that's lovely. You sure got lovely children, younger. Me and Isaiah talks all the time about what fine children you was blessed with. We sure do. All right. Again, I think Mrs. Johnson is being sarcastic. I think she's actually saying the opposite of the truth. So if she just sat here and said, my husband and me, we are always talking about what lovely children you have, I think that's code for the fact that Mrs. Johnson and her husband are constantly talking about what messed up and bad children the youngers have. And I think that's what she's insinuating now. Mama, Ruth, give Miss Johnson a piece of sweet potato pie and some milk. Johnson, oh, honey, I can't hardly stay a minute. I just dropped in to see if there was anything I could do, accepting the food easily. I guess y'all seen the news, what's all over the colored paper this week. Mama, no, I didn't get mine yet this week. Johnson, lifting her head and blinking with the spirit of catastrophe. You mean you ain't read about them colored people that was bombed out of their place out there? Do you hear what she just said? Mrs. Johnson just said, I guess you didn't read the news this week. And Mama said, no, I didn't read the news this week. I've been a little busy, with packing and whatnot and my family. And Johnson says, well, you mean you ain't read about them colored people that was bombed out their place out there? What is Miss Johnson referring to? In the news, they're talking about a black family had moved into a white neighborhood and they were bombed out. In other words, someone either blew up their house or, lit their house on fire. In other words, the black people were literally attacked, all right, and had their house exploded or burned down to the ground. And why would Miss Johnson be saying that to Mama right now? Why? Think about this. Why would you say something like that? Because she's trying to scare the younger. She's trying to scare Mama. See, if you're moving out into that white neighborhood, well, then you better watch out because you might get bombed as well. In other words, you shouldn't be doing anything like that. You should be staying here in the black neighborhood where you belong. I think that's what Miss Johnson is saying. Listen, Ruth straightens with concern and takes the paper and reads it. Johnson notices her and feeds commentary. Ain't it something how bad these here white folks is getting here in Chicago? Lord, getting so you think you right down in Mississippi, with a tremendous and rather insincere sense of melodrama. Of course, I think it's wonderful how our folks keeps on pushing out. You hear some of these Negroes around here talking about how they don't go where they ain't wanted and all that, but not me, honey. This is a lie. So Miss Johnson is one of those people that literally says straight lies. And she does. She's lying when she said that. So again, I'm going to say it. Of course, I think it's wonderful how our folks keep on pushing out. So we know she's lying by the tone of her voice. So what she's really saying is she doesn't think black people should move out of black neighborhoods. She thinks black people should stay in black neighborhoods where they are treated with disdain and where they have to stay in squalor and poverty with rats and roaches. Miss Johnson believes that's their place, and that is unacceptable. And Mama is not going to like that. And she even says, Wilhelmina Othello Johnson goes anywhere, anytime she feels like it. Now, that's another lie. Clearly, she doesn't go anywhere she feels like because she's telling them not to go into a white neighborhood. With head movement for emphasis. Yes, I do. Why? If we left it up to these here crackers, these poor wouldn't have nothing. She clasped her hand over her mouth. Oh, I always forgets you don't allow that word in your house. Okay, now, Miss Johnson just used the N-word, and she said it, and then she clapped her hands over her mouth and said, oh, I always forgets you don't allow that word in your house. Now, she knows they don't use that word in their house, and she knows that Mama doesn't want to hear it, so she says it anyway. Why? And look what she said. These poor blank wouldn't have nothing. So it's almost as if she's saying to the youngers and to Ruth exactly what white America and white people would say to them. She's keeping them down. She's trying to keep them oppressed too. Why would she want them to be oppressed too? Why would she want anybody to be oppressed too? I don't understand. I truly don't understand that. But Lorraine Hansberry, she put this in here, this character in here, because she wanted people to understand that there were people, black people at the time, that acted this way, that didn't want black people to go out and live their lives and not be held down and oppressed, that wanted them to continue that way. Let's continue. She clasped her hand over her mouth. Oh, I always forget you don't allow that word in your house. Mama quietly looking at her. No, I don't allow it. Johnson vigorously again. Me neither. I was just telling Isaiah yesterday when he come in front of me, I said, Isaiah, it's just like Miss Younger says, wait a minute, stop. She just said, I don't use that word either. No. She just used it. Very interesting that she would use a word and then afterwards say, I don't like to use that word. So apparently she really is a liar and they know it. My question is, why does mama put up with her, give her pie and give her milk and whatnot? Apparently, I get the feeling that this might happen on a nightly basis. Why? Because mama's a nice lady and she doesn't want to be rude even to Miss Johnson. Even to a bad person like Miss Johnson, she still wants to be nice to her, which actually says something nice about mama. Let's continue. Mama, don't you want some more pie? Johnson, no, thank you. This was lovely. I just got to get over home and have my midnight coffee. I hear some people say don't let them sleep, but I find I can't close my eyes, right? Listen, I've done had that last cup of coffee. She waits, a beat, undaunted. My good night coffee, I calls it. So, did you hear this? She says, no, I'm going to go home and have my coffee. And then she goes into a diatribe about how she has to have her coffee. And then she says, I done had that last cup of coffee I needed. And then she waits. A beat, undaunted. In other words, she's going to stand there as long as it takes. And then she says, my good night coffee, I calls it. She's waiting for mama to say, okay, we'll give you some coffee. I think Miss Johnson comes over here all the time and just tries to get whatever she can out of them because she knows that the Youngers are good people. And she, a bad person, takes advantage of their goodness. And while she's taking advantage of their goodness, she's over here dissing them. Ruth gives mama an unpleasant look for her kindness. Johnson accepting the coffee. Where's brother tonight? Mama, he's lying down. He sure gets his beauty rest, don't he? OMG, did you hear that? He sure gets his beauty rest, don't he? What is she insinuating? She's insinuating that all Walter does, and by the way, they call him brother because he's the brother to Benita, right? So that's why it's not Walter. That's why she called him brother. She's insinuating that all he does is sleep, that he doesn't work, that he doesn't try in life, that he just sleeps all the time. So she's calling him a bum right to the mother. He sure gets his beauty rest, don't he? Good-looking man. Sure is a good-looking man. Reaching out to pat Ruth's stomach again. I guess that's how come we keep on having babies around here. Oh, snap. Now she's insinuating that all Walter and Ruth do is have sex. That's it. That's all they're interested in life. They don't do anything other than that. That is a complete diss to say to them. I guess that's how come we keep on having babies around here. She winks at mama. One thing about brother, he always knows how to have a good time and so ambitious. Now, time out. Now she's really knocking brother. Now she's saying, knocking Walter. She's saying all Walter likes to do is sleep and have a good time. I think she's talking about sex, but it might be more partying and drinking. And then she says, and so ambitious. She's sarcastically saying that Walter doesn't have any ambitions, that Walter doesn't have any dreams, that he's just a bum, and that he's just happy to be a bum. And the irony about that is it's the complete opposite. We both know, we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that Walter is incredibly ambitious, that Walter has tons of dreams. Miss Johnson is knocking him. And at this point, if I was mama, I would have her the heck out of my home. But let's see how mama deals with it. I bet it was his idea, y'all moving out to Clybourne Park. Lord, I bet this next month, y'all's names will have been in the papers plenty. OMG. Did you hear what she just said now? I bet this time next month, y'all's names will have been in the papers plenty. She means that if you move there, you are going to die. You're going to get bombed out or burned out or beaten out of your home. So she's like threatening them now, holding up her hands to mark off each word of the headline she can see in front of her. Negroes invade Clybourne Park. Bombed. Mama, she and Ruth look at the woman in amazement. We ain't exactly moving out there to get bombed. Johnson, oh, honey, you know I'm praying to God every night that nothing like that do happen. Did you hear what you just said? You know I'm praying to God every night that nothing like that happened. It does not sound like that. In fact, sounds to me that Miss Johnson hopes they get bombed out of there. I think Miss Johnson thinks they deserve to get bombed out of there because she doesn't believe that Black people have the right to go and be true Americans. She doesn't believe that Black people have the right to go and live their dreams. The bitter irony is Miss Johnson is Black. Has she been so brainwashed by white America that she believes that this is okay? I think that's what's going on here. I think we're learning that Miss Johnson has been so brainwashed by white America that she thinks that she belongs where underneath them, oppressed by white America, and that all other black people should be there as well. That is awful. Imagine if Miss Johnson has kids and that's the message she's teaching her kids. It's certainly the message she's trying to teach her neighbor and their kids. That's why Miss Johnson, by the way, doesn't like the youngers, because they do have dreams, because they do have ambitions, and because they try to follow their dreams and they live out their dreams the way they should, the way everybody in America should. Miss Johnson doesn't believe that. But you have to think of life like it is. And these here Chicago pecker words are some bad pecker words, Mama Wearily. We've done thought all about that, Miss Johnson. Benita comes out of the bedroom in a robe and passes through the bathroom. Mrs. Johnson turns. Hello there, Benny. Benita crisply. Hello, Miss Johnson. Now, I love that. Benita doesn't give her any niceness the way Mama does. And Ruth tries, but she doesn't do it as well. Benita's not putting up with this, nor should she, nor should anybody. Johnson, how's school? Benita crisply, fine, thank you. She goes out. Johnson, insulted, getting so she don't have much to say to nobody. So now Johnson is angry that Benita didn't sit there and just, smooch her booty, kiss her butt the whole time. Oh, hi, Miss Johnson. How are you, Miss Johnson? And by the way, does Miss Johnson deserve that? No. Miss Johnson does not deserve anybody being nice to her. Certainly not Benita. In fact, she just insinuated that Benita was sleeping around and might be pregnant back there. And now she wants Benita to be nice to her. And God bless Benita. You got to love it. She doesn't give her any time like that. Johnson said, getting so she don't have much to say to nobody. Mama, that child was on her way to the bathroom. Johnson, I know, but sometimes she act like she ain't got no time to pass the time of day with nobody ain't been to college. So there's the truth. Johnson is jealous that she goes to college, is angry that she goes to college, and believes that Benita doesn't belong there, that Benita, a black woman, does not belong in medical school. How wrong is Miss Johnson? I mean, could she be any more wrong? Oh, I ain't criticizing her none. Actually, that's exactly what she's doing. It's just, how some of our young people gets when they get a little education. Did you hear what she just said? You know how some of our young people gets when they get a little education? What is she insinuating? That education is bad, because when kids get educated, well, then they get dreams. And you know what they do? They try to better themselves. Guys, that's the whole point of education. Do the best you can so you can go on to college. Do great there so you can get a great job or have a great life. Miss Johnson believes the opposite. Miss Johnson believes that black people shouldn't be educated because education makes them want more and they don't deserve more because they're black. That's what Miss Johnson believes. And she believes that Benny is wrong for going to college and having dreams. OMG. Mama and Ruth say nothing. They just look at her. Yes, well, I guess I better get on home. Unmoving. In other words, she's not going anywhere. She's waiting for that coffee. Of course, I can understand how she must be proud and everything, being the only one in the family to make something of herself. Oh, snap. Did you hear that? She just said, of course, I can understand how she must be proud and everything, being the only one in the family to make something of herself. She just dissed everybody in the younger family. She dissed Mama, said, you never made anything of yourself. She dissed Walter. He never made anything of himself. She dissed Ruth. She never made anything of herself. So on one hand, she was dissing Benny for going to college. And then when they defended Benny, now she's dissing everybody else for not going to college. Wow, Miss Johnson is not a very nice person. I know just being a chauffeur ain't never satisfied brother none. He shouldn't feel like that, though. Ain't nothing wrong with being a chauffeur. So now she's saying brother shouldn't be, Walter shouldn't be upset that this is the only job he's allowed to have. This is the only that he can't find his dreams, that he has to chauffeur around white people, and that he can't be, he can't move above that. And she's saying he should be happy with that. And I love Mama's answer, and that's where we're going to stop. Mama says, there's plenty wrong with it. And that's a great place for us to pick up tomorrow. And we're going to see them argue more with Miss Johnson and hopefully kick Miss Johnson the heck out of their apartment. I would tell her to get out and never come back again. But that's personally me. I don't put up with people who try to hold me down or hold anybody in my family down. I just don't do it. But that's me. Guys, gals, really fantastic job today. I think you're understanding now why this Miss Johnson's part is so important in this play. It just shows you another way that people's dreams were deferred. And it wasn't just by the government or white America. Sometimes it was by other black people as well. Sometimes it was even by friends of yours as well. And it's just unacceptable. You can't let anybody hold you down. Everybody deserves the same chance at their dreams. Everybody does. Have a really great day. We'll pick it up from there tomorrow.